Tally ho, everyone. How the devil? Hope all is well in your neck of the woods. Sorry, I'm a wee bit late. Yes, as Kevin says, though, a bootneck is never late. He always arrives precisely when he means to. How is everyone? All right? Unfortunately, this is going to be my last stream for a few days, Christmas and that, because I'm going to visit the mother-in-law. Winner. Although, joking aside, it's easy to make quips about your mother-in-law. But I've got a theory about that as well. You know, the bootneck's got a theory on nearly everything, hasn't he? I think that as the jokes are there because men typically are more ribald with the humour than women are. Again, not always right. I remember Christopher Hitchens' famous piece in Vanity Fair called "Why Women Aren't Funny." Got him a load of backlash, even though anybody who knows any women knows for a fact. In fact, any women who know any men know for a fact that it's true. Again, probably because of our biological urges and evolution. You can't fight it, can you? And the fact that men from a young age get told, if you don't impress women with your wit, they won't let you shag them. So I defy anyone to tell me that women are as funny as men. That's just a fact. And just because occasionally there are funny ones, Roseanne Barr is extremely funny. I'm a big fan of Roseanne Barr. But typically women aren't as funny as men. And it's because men get brainwashed from a young age to be told if you don't make yourself witty and good-humoured, you're not going to get your end away. Whereas the other way around, ladies, we all know, you don't have to do anything, do you? You don't have to try. You could have a mouth full of dog shit and most men will still try and shag you. That's just the way we are. Stupid chimps that we are. That's just the way it is. So I defy anyone to disagree with that. It's well known. Doesn't mean all women aren't funny. Some are funny. But if you take an average, it's quite obvious, isn't it? And I think men and women, because we're sort of programmed to like each other in some way, I think the mother-in-law meme or joke is a result of you just taking the piss like blokes do with humour. I think the real issue with in-laws comes from the opposite sex, i.e., if they aren't the opposite sex, you've got a problem. My mother-in-law's fucking sound. Gives me no shit at all. She gives me missus some shit. She hardly ever gives me any shit. And she's always cooking for me and she's fucking sound as a pound. I think it's the same genders that give you shit, i.e., if you're a bloke, your father-in-law might be a wanker. And if you're a lass, your mother-in-law be a bitch. Because women love to fight over the attentions of the man, don't they? Women especially, they don't like to see another lass come in and sort of get the claws into their beloved son. You know, these sort of clingy mothers. So I think the mother-in-law thing is typically an issue for women, right? Women get threaders when another woman turns up. So why would that be any different for a wife and the mother-in-law? Anyway, maybe I'm just talking shit, but I like my mother-in-law. She's all right. I promise you, it's not just because she's watching. Please don't hurt me. Right, I'm kidding. She doesn't watch. Of course she doesn't watch. Holy shit. What 70-year-old woman wants to watch this? Jesus. Right. Stephen owns a gentleman and laughs. If you say something misogynistic, Steve, and then call yourself a gentleman at the end of it, I don't know if that counts. Samantha B and Sarah, I mean, there's two good examples. Samantha B and Sarah Silverman. Seriously, Sarah Silverman is about as funny as a boot in the bollocks. I can't think of anything less humorous than watching Sarah Silverman. Samantha B as well, terrible. And what's that fucking Australian one? Hannah Gadsden. Fucking hell. Or is it Gadsden or Gadsby? Jesus. I watched her. I swear down. She is about as funny as a boot in the bollocks. I cannot believe that you can get a comedy special on Netflix purely based around your race and your gender. I mean, that's why she's got where she is. Sexuality and gender. Because she's a woman and she's a leser. She's got a comedy special. It's not funny. You try and watch it and it's like, basically, she whinges about life. It's like being on the therapist's couch. Oh, sorry, it's like being the therapist and listening to a fucking dippy ugly woman whinge for an hour. I was like, what? This is comedy, this should be under some sort of like grueling psychological conditioning fucking section. It should be on the special forces torture techniques. You know, like normally they put a sack over your head, make you stand in a stress position and play white noise over a speaker. Just play fucking Hannah Gadsby for fucking 2 hours and you'll break the strongest of men. ISIS and Al-Qaeda will be there in a shake on with a sack over their head listening to Hannah Gadsby. And after 20 minutes of Hannah Gadsby, they'll be like, gee, I'll talk. I'll tell you everything. I'll tell you where the dirty bombs are. So that's unbelievable. But, right, anyway, I'm always talking bollocks before we start. It's a tradition. Let's do some news, shall we? Yeah, diversity comedy. My God. My God. Listen to Rotten Politics, Slim. Do not even think about typing in Hannah Gadsby on YouTube, because I swear to God, you'll be on suicide watch for a month. Oh yeah, you know what? You've just reminded me of a good joke. Yeah, I know you like my jokes. It doesn't work as well with a laugh track, but I'm definitely better at doing them than fucking Hannah Gadsby. So here's a joke, right? Let me just make sure I've got this right, because when they're quite old, and you don't. The reason I remember this joke is because I was told it years ago, and when I got told, whenever I heard a really funny joke in my local, I used to write it down in a notepad in my phone, and then I changed my phone last year, and I just remembered the other day that you can download the apps that you've used in the past. Typical, you know, I'm getting on a bit, and I downloaded Evernote, and it had all my notes in it, what I haven't seen for years, and some of them were jokes that I wrote down because I wanted to remember them for Bants in the Boozer. And this is a beauty, so I'll start now. Right, there's a bloke. He's an old fella, about 60. His wife's been in a coma for like 20 years. And they're keeping her alive, you know. Hoping it'll be like Steven Seagal and she'll rise from the fucking dead 20 years later or what have you. One day his phone rings. So he answers the phone. He's like, hello? And the doctor says, yeah, hello, Mr. Smith. Listen, I'm going to tell you something that's controversial and I don't want you to lose your temper. But, you know, as a medical professional, we've got to always explore every option, right? So don't take this the wrong way, but we've got a new experimental treatment that we think might be able to bring your missus out of a coma. And the old fella says, well, come on then, I'll anything that you think will help. He says, right, it's going to sound weird, but they've found, using like MRI scans and that, you know how they are nowadays, there's certain sections of your brain, and we think they get excited by oral sex. Now, I know it sounds weird, but we think if you just come down and try it with your wife, we think it could possibly bring her out of a coma. It'll excite parts of the brain that, you know, we haven't been near for years. And we'll do it as tactfully as we can. We'll put a big curtain round and we'll monitor her vitals from next door. And we'll just see how it goes. So the old fella says, yeah. All right, I'll try anything. Sounds a bit weird, but whatever you think will help. So he goes to the hospital, they pull the curtains round, he goes in on his own and say, right, we'll be monitoring everything next door. He says, right, about 10 minutes later, the doctors are there monitoring the vitals like that, and then the monitor's like, beep, 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 and then it just goes, and flatlines completely, and the doctors go, holy shit, what's going on? They all run in, pull the curtains open, the old fella's got hold of her by the head, he goes, I think she must have choked on it. Was that a Jethro joke, was it? There you go, quality. So I heard that in the Brunton Arms in Middlesbrough, and I thought it was a beauty. Made me laugh anyway. Right. Oh, no, I don't need these. I'm not watching a video. Right, let's just do some news then, shall we? Good evening, Glenn. Right. First things first, the Omicron wave appears milder, but concern remains. So this is news as of 21 minutes ago, right? And anyone who's watched, I was going to say the Angry Bootneck. Yes, anyone who's ever watched anyone on YouTube that's not a fucking idiot knows that this was coming, right? Again, the general public have been saying this for fucking 3 months. Since the first day it was announced that Omicron was a thing. We've been saying, right, listen, viruses mutate and they get less lethal and more transmissible. So the virus stays alive. And I can't believe, I've only got this from like reading fucking news stories and listening to people. with fucking letters behind the name. It's not like it's rocket science, is it? But that's the way viruses work, because like anything, they want to stay alive. So they get more transmissible and less dangerous. And this has been known for months. For fucking months. So all those people who said, hey, there's no point in locking South Africa down, poor bastards, because it's already going to have been mooching around the globe for fucking ages if you've just found out about it now. And B, there's no fucking point in worrying about it because it's going to be less dangerous. Just because it's more transmissible. If it's less dangerous, who cares? The cold's transmissible. But how many people die of a cold? Obvious, isn't it? So everyone who's not an idiot has been saying this for months. And finally, the BBC get around to reporting it 21 minutes ago. Fucking cheers easy. Cheers easy. It says the wave appears to be milder than, oh, fucking hell. Well, I never saw that coming. Evidence suggests fewer people need hospital. And early evidence, it's always still the fear, even when they're telling you the good news 6 weeks after they should have told you it. They have to put as much paranoia in it with every sentence as possible, right? So they know they can't get away with hiding it any longer, even though it's been months. So now they have to word it in a way where you're still shitting yourself. Early evidence suggests possibly maybe. We've known this for months. Fewer people need hospital treatment than with other variants, from 30 to 70%. Or however, the Scottish study is based on a few, very few cases and a few... Fuck off. And the concern remains that even if it is milder, the sheer number of cases could overwhelm hospitals. Listen, right, so basically that in all fucking 4 paragraphs there was just shit yourself, lads. Fucking shit yourself, lads. Right? What a load of shite. Also, if the hospitals weren't overwhelmed when it's all kicked off, hear me out, because this is going to be tough to wrap your head around. If the hospitals weren't overwhelmed at the beginning, when, as it says in this story, early evidence suggests fewer people need hospital treatment, right? If they didn't overwhelm the hospitals at the start of the fucking pandemic, when it all kicked off, and we didn't have any lockdowns in it, it went all around the world before we did anything about it because it was going about in November and we didn't put any lockdowns until March. So if it didn't overwhelm the hospitals after 5 months of letting it rip at the start of the pandemic and those dog shit, what's the fucking nurse called? Florence Nightingale hospitals. Those Nightingale hospitals, we didn't use any of them and we didn't overwhelm the NHS and nothing happened. And we were all paranoid and we spent hundreds of millions building all these fucking makeshift hospitals that didn't get used. Why? Why? Tell me, by all the gods, why? If this version is 30 to 70% less likely to put you in hospital and 70% of the UK's had a vaccine, which you insist works, and 20% of them have had a booster, which you insist work, why, by all the gods, would the concern remain that even if it's milder and it doesn't put you in hospital and 70% of the fucking population's had a vaccine, why the fuck would it overwhelm the hospitals now if it didn't then? Anyone? Or am I just being a raving lunatic? Am I completely off my teeny tits on wobbly eggs? I mean, honestly, I can't. It would probably be enough to just say, if it's estimated that between 30-70% reduction of hospitalisation, it would probably be enough to leave it there. If there's a 30 to 70% chance of hospitalisation and we didn't overwhelm the hospitals at the beginning, then that's probably enough. But when you throw into the mix that millions more people have had it and have natural immunity, and millions of more people have had vaccines, which apparently work, and millions more people have had boosters, which apparently work, why the fuck is this story trying to scare everyone? How? I mean, 70% of the country is double vaccinated, and now they've got boosters out, and millions of people have had COVID and now have natural immunity. And it's 30 to 70% less likely to put you in hospital. And I know I'm repeating myself because it blows my tiny fucking mind. I can't believe anyone, doesn't matter whether you're a left-wing daft cunt, a right-wing daft cunt, a centrist, weaselly, fence-sitting daft cunt like me, how can anybody read this fucking story and not after those first 4 paragraphs just go, this website isn't worth a wank. Just see you later. Done it. Innit? It's fucking mental. It's fucking mental. So that is just total bollocks. I cannot believe it. 30 to 70% reduction in hospital treatment, tens of millions of people vaccinated, millions of people boosted, millions of people have had it. 2 years it's fucking gone on. All of a sudden, oh yeah, there is a concern that it might the hospitals. No. Let me tell you what this is, right? Scotland, commie central. Let me tell you what this is. Fuck this, the rest of this dog shit story, because it's all nonsense. Let me tell you what this is in the most simplistic way I can. Right? Scotland and Wales are implementing ridiculous, authoritarian, overbearing nonsense lockdown laws. Wales saying they're going to fine people for going to work, right? That's all happening because the self-serving, slimy shitbags that run Scotland and Wales, and Paz is going to love this because he's a Welshman. Although now he lives in England now, doesn't he? Jammy bastard. Yeah, if you saw the light and you're unfortunate enough to still reside in Scotland and Wales, get yourself across the border. Because as I've said many times, England's a total shit show. But Scotland and Wales are like the shit show's mentally ill serial killer brother. Like, again, they deserve it because out of them all, the only one that votes Conservative, and I know they aren't Conservative, but at least they vote Conservative, is England. When England was voting for all the Conservatives while Scotland was voting in the Communists, I can't see why we didn't just send every illegal asylum seeker up to Scotland, because the Scottish are voting for the people that want them all. Right? The Scottish like, send them all over. We'll have them. So we should just be like, okay, well, we voted Conservative and we voted for a platform that ran on an anti-immigration policy, and you voted for an open borders policy. So every single sex pest, criminal, pedo, rapist, illegal immigrant, anyone who comes in at all, we'll just send them up north, right? You want them. That's what an election is. It's expressing your will to your leaders. You've said you want more and you want open borders, and we've said we don't. So why can't we do that? Why isn't that legitimate? Seems totally fair for me. But so Scotland and Wales are a joke. But this is what really grips my shit about this story. So Scotland and Wales have done that purely out of political machinations. It's purely Machiavellian scheming on the behalf of Sturgeon. And that fucking chopper in Wales. They think locking down the country, it'll be good for them politically. So your rights, Scotsmen and Welshmen in the room, your rights mean less than nothing to them. This, to me, is worse than corruption. At least when they're just taking bribes and lining their own pockets. At least they're simply being bought by coin. But when they're stomping all over your rights and fucking up your Christmas and telling you who you can have in your own house, purely because they think it'll be good for them politically, you've got a tyrant in charge. Sturgeon is a walking toilet. The woman cares nothing for you and your family and your happiness. She cares only about political machinations. So if you're a Scotsman and you're still living up there with those horrible, brutal communist scumbags running the show, I think you're a maniac. And I've always had scorn for the Scottish for the last 10 years when they started voting them in. Because again, I've got scorn for all of our political parties. But you could at least abstain. If you don't want to hold your nose and vote for the Conservatives when they were pretending to be Conservative, which you should have done because they were pretending to be Conservative 10 years ago. If you couldn't bring yourself to do that, you could at least abstain instead of flocking to what is essentially a proper Marxist party. The SNP are Marxists. Everybody knows it. Their economic policies, the border policies, essentially they're a Marxist party who never use the term Marxism because they know it's unpopular. But that's what they are. And they don't care about your individual rights or your family's happiness or your wife and children. The Scottish, every time there's an authoritarian push in the UK, it's the Scottish who started. There's a reason why Count Dankula was first arrested in Scotland. The first comedian who was prosecuted in a court of law was obviously in Scotland. It was always going to be in Scotland. David Stark used to talk about this. It's always the Scottish who fuck everything up for us. I'm amazed the English haven't started a pro-independence campaign. The only reason I think it is because we are quite a sentimental bunch. And again, guys like me who fought under the Union Jack think, you know what, like the monarchy, I don't particularly like the monarchy. I don't particularly like the Scots. But fuck it, keep it the same. It's worked all right for 300 years. It's about conserving, right? That's what my ideology is. I'll take pretty shitty happy medium over some sort of youthful ideology, some youthful optimism that doesn't exist. I don't particularly care about Scotland. Scotland wants to go on their own. Fuck off and do it. But we're happy with the status quo because I'm a conservative. I like things the way they are. Don't rock the boat. It's the thing I've said many, many, many times. It's not that I'm happy with how things are, but it's that I'm well aware how hard it is to arrive where we are, where we've got a relatively peaceful and stable society, and which is why I've always advocated making changes very, very, very carefully and very, very slowly. And it's why I despise Tony Blair as much as I do, because of all the whole-scale changes he made without thinking about it too much. It's not about liking the royal family or liking the Scottish and the Welsh and the Northern Irish. It's about keeping what we've got and saying, you know what, things aren't bad the way they are or the way they were. Let's just keep it. That's all it is. If you're a Scottish citizen and you can't get your head around that basic fact, it doesn't mean we all want to go and suck off all the scumbags that live and work around Westminster, does it? We hate our politicians, all of them. You don't think the people in Leeds and Newcastle sit there going, why are we getting ruled over by these posh southern wankers? Yeah, of course we do. It doesn't mean you throw the baby out with the bathwater. So there's me. I've basically shot my bolt there. I'm done trying to make my appeal to the Scottish to see sense. The Welsh, being based and voting for Brexit, get a bit of a free pass off me. But out of all of the nations, the home nations, the only one that's got any fucking sense is England. Certainly for the last 10 years. You cannot talk sense to the Scottish and the Welsh. Basically, they're riding the Anglophobia to power. Communists, they've tacked the mast to Anglophobia. And they're managing to use it to get into power. Because I don't believe for a second that most Welsh and Scotsmen are communists. Most fucking working class Welsh blokes are probably like Paz, right? I met plenty in the military, normal fucking lads. Most working class Scotsmen, I met plenty in the fucking military, the normal lads. They're not communists. But they've tied that mast to stir up resentment and bigotry because it's so easy to do. And they're managing to use it to ride it to power. Loony lefty collectivists running Wales and Scotland into the ground. And they need to get a grip of it. Because as it stands, it's every year we're going to get more and more cool with, you know what, fuck it then. Fuck it then. SNP only got in because Labour made themselves unelectable. Yes, Andy, they did. But still, you should be able to hold your nose and vote for anybody that isn't a communist. Or even massive apathy, but there isn't, is there? The SNP have been winning uniformly for the last 10 years. And frankly, I've had enough. So yeah, there is that. What are the stories that I want to talk about? Let me have a look. Oh yeah, here's one. We like a bit of crime and punishment on this channel, don't we? So let's have a look at this old chestnut. Right. Deputy head teacher jailed for raping a girl. A primary school deputy head teacher and her partner have been jailed for dozens of child abuse offences, including 9 counts of rape. So, torturing and raping little girls and filming it. Again, not to sound like me granddad, I'm not particularly right-wing on crime. Made this point before. If there's cause and effect, if there's addiction, if there's abuse, if there's trauma, if there's a motive, I can understand people with a less well put together brain than me suddenly losing the rag and doing something fucking stupid. If we can treat them easily and we can decide that it's logical that we can reform them and it can be a sincere reformation, then we can allow people back into society. But, and it's a big but, if you routinely torture and rape girls under the age of 13. So again, it's not like, oh, some 20-year-old who's a bit of a dirty bastard shagging a 15-year-old lass who deserves a slap on the wrist rather than 20 years in jail. It's not like that. It's little kids who haven't even gone through puberty, right? Little children. If you take pleasure in remorselessly, because it happened dozens of times, if you take pleasure in torturing and raping children, on what fucking planet does it make sense to jail these people for? And I'm not even going to entertain, I'm not even going to speak that sentence, because that's not what they're getting jailed for. You have to remember that in a country that's as pathetic and milquetoast as the United Kingdom, the teacher isn't going to jail for that amount of time. The teacher's going to get out of prison in about 6 years. Do you think someone who tortures and rapes children relentlessly, didn't just happen once, it wasn't pissed at a party and thought she was 16. This is a fucker that tortures and rapes children, dozens and dozens of them. Can you let him out? And her, they're both freaks. Can you let them out? Can you just send them to prison for 6 years? Send them on a course, like what Jeremy Corbyn would do. Send them to fucking Alton Towers for 2 weeks for a long chat with a left-wing Guardian reading therapist. Can you send these people on holiday for a fortnight, jail them for 6 years, and then release them into the wild like a beautiful, like a red admiral, like a beautiful butterfly out amongst the children? What they're going to do? Let him out, and he's going to be a fucking lollipop man. I mean, seriously, what are we going to do? Can you reform someone like that? No. They're not burglars, they're not thieves, they're not muggers. They are torturing and systematically torturing and raping dozens of children. So you can't let them out. Can you? You can't do it, or else you're basically condemning more children to get tortured and raped. These fucking freaks aren't going to see the error of the ways after 5 years in jail and come out and be upstanding members of society that you can definitely trust around children. So what is the point? Liverpool Crown Court heard the videos showed Julie Morris giggling as the abuse took place. Seriously, normal humans, and I'm even putting most lefties in this thing, most left-wing arseholes just don't know their arse from their elbow. They haven't got no emotions. They've just been misled and indoctrinated. Seriously, I've talked about this before with regards to animal abuse. If you can kick the shit or burn or torture a puppy or a kitten, the reason people like that should be inside is because the brain's broken. I'm a miserable bastard. I'm happy when the time is right to shoot people that deserve it, right? That was my fucking bread and butter for 10 years of my life. But my brain isn't broken. You have to process those things. You start thinking about it in your head when you're lied in your bunk and you think, was that the right thing to do? Could things have gone differently? Did the man I fired my rifle at deserve his fate? And you have to process it when you're a normal person because you have empathy. And even someone like me who thinks himself a tough man winces when I see like a video of someone kicking and hurting an animal like a puppy or a kitten, because I'm an evolved primate with a functioning brain. So I've got empathy. I understand something with a large head to body ratio and nice big eyes. It reminds you of a kid. That's why everybody likes a puppy, right? And if you're the type of person that would kick the shit out of a little puppy or a kitten, there's something wrong with your brain. That's why I've always advocated jailing shitbags who mistreat animals, the sentencing for people that mistreat animals, willfully and purposely and malevolently, constantly mistreat animals, should be far, far stricter than it is, because people that do that have got something seriously wrong with them. It's way more serious than people seem to think it is, because there's some part of your brain is defective if you don't feel shame when you do that. And for this fucking freak to giggle, to laugh while a bloke's torturing and raping a child, means she should never see the light of day again. And if it was down to me, well, we know what they'd get. Both fucking barrels. That's what they'd get. In fact, no, that'd cost the taxpayer, and I'll do it for free. I would just fucking beat them to death with the end of the shotgun. I would turn it round and fucking bludgeon these weasels to death and do all the taxpayers a favour. But happy to meet the left halfway. Lock them up forever. There's me meeting you halfway. Because if you ask the general public, and we're supposed to live in a democracy, well, we don't. We know we live in a police state. But if you were to ask the general public what you think you should do with people that laugh when they torture and rape children, we all know what the general public would say you should do with them. And I'll give you a clue. It doesn't involve Jeremy Corbyn or Alton Towers. If it involves a tower, it means the Tower of fucking London and racking them inside, the bastard. So again, what's going on here? 6 years. 6 years they'll be out. Disgusting, depraved, seriously fucked up. This horrible shitbag and this piece of work who laughs and giggles as the torture. Like, see, I don't even think the Spanish Inquisition laughed and giggled when they fucking tortured people. So yeah, I've had it. People like that shouldn't be fucking breathing. And that, if that makes me right-wing, guilty. On most things, I'm reasonable. On dealing with murderers and torturers and rapists who are defective in the head, I think we regretfully put them down. I don't take any pleasure in it. But you can't reform these people. And if you can't reform them, what's the point? The left always say it's not about punishment. It's not about punishment. It's about reform. Well, if you can't reform them, what then? Until this clockwork orange and we can somehow rewire these freaks' brains, let's just have it, shall we? Anyway, I'm not doing that one anymore. That's depressing. Let's end on this, because I wanted to look. I watched Lotus Eater's podcast and they went through the Build Back Better Act over here in the United States. And all I can say about this one, it's a roller coaster ride on the Angry Bootneck. You know it is. But we're doing some US politics now. All I can say about this one is thank all that is holy that the switched on Joe Minchin in fucking Virginia was sane enough to deep six the Build Back Better Act, because looking at it in slow time, it's even worse than I thought it was. Let me just go down to what the spending is. The $3.5 trillion version, right, which is like not a small sum of money, included. This was the revised version then, the 2.2 trillion one. This is the bullet points that made me laugh, right? This is the revised one. Apparently, this is the nice, easy going version. It's $400 billion for IRS reform. $400 billion. Is there anyone in the world who thinks, you know what we need? We need hundreds of thousands more taxmen. Is that going to make your life easier? And if you think they're only going to be picking on very, very wealthy people, you're an idiot. Because nearly everyone I know has at some point ran afoul of the bastard taxman. And guess what? the Angry Bootneck doesn't typically socialise with millionaires. Who do you think I'm going on the piss with? Elon Musk? No. Working class scum that still get harassed by the bastard inland revenue. Because if you work for a living, they steal off you frequently. If you're an illegal immigrant and you came over in the back of a tomato van, yeah, you're laughing kitbags, fellas. But if you're not and you actually go to work every day, you will fall afoul of the IRS. So don't tell me that we should be happy about the fucking Inland Revenue Service getting massively expanded. Let me just find the bullet points for you. Because honestly, yeah, this one, look at this shit. This is the revised version. 555 billion for clean energy and climate change. 555 billion. And the point I've made with this one, time and again, is, let me just try and blow it up a bit. The point I've made with this one, time and time again, is that every dollar, every dime of that provision is just blowing it into the wind. It's just a waste. Because as long as the third world increases their population and China and India keep on building, every saving we make will be instantly wiped out. There's going to be more climate in the air next. There's going to be more carbon jettisoned into the atmosphere next year than there was this year. And there's going to be more the year after that. And there's going to be more the year after that, because population is the biggest driver of carbon. And the Chinese and the Indians and the Africans aren't really giving a flying fuck about this bollocks. So if we somehow manage to talk the whole world into getting on board, maybe you could talk me into it. But as it stands, every single nickel of that 555 billion, you are pissing up against the wall. In fact, you might as well piss it up against the wall, literally, because at least if you get pissed, you have the fun of having 6 or 7 hours on the drink. The way that stands, we are just pissing up against the wall without the fun bit at the beginning. So it's complete nonsense. And I don't know what they're thinking. 400 billion for childcare and preschools, yeah. Because all the fucking chavs who have 15 kids, they need more money, don't they? I'll tell you who needs more money. Mick Philpott. Normal fucking people are having like 1 or 2 kids tops. And they're used to paying for them, the bastard selves. This, once again, is enabling the ghetto moms, the fucking jizz queens who have 11 kids by 10 dads. What do they need more fucking money for? Mick Philpott was doing just fine, thanks. I don't think people like that need more of my bastard money. I am sick and tired of paying for everything. More bollocks, child tax, bollocks. Pay for your own ugly, fucked up children. Margaret Thatcher, the milk snatcher. If I was in charge, I wouldn't just be the milk snatcher. I'd be the fucking milk, the cheese, and the fucking pencil case snatcher. Feed your own ugly, fucked up children. I'm sick and tired. Every day I walk through council estates back home, walk through the council estates in Borough. I'm sick and tired of seeing these toothless, one-eyed simpletons with 10 children that I'm feeding. None of them work. They go from cradle to grave without ever doing a day's bastard work, and you and I pay for them. So can all of the fucking middle-class arseholes of the world please stop insisting we throw more money at shitbags that don't work for a living? Please. We don't need stupid people to breed more. We don't need to incentivise that. They do that quite right on their own. Are the ghettos empty of fucking fatherless children? No. They're still squirting them out left, right and centre. The one thing we don't need to do is motivate shitbags to breed more. They're perfectly happy doing it anyway. Christ almighty. 150 billion for home care, bollocks. 150 billion, bollocks, buy your own fucking house. Affordable Care Act credits. All right, well, I can possibly see some utility there. Some poor bastards not getting looked after. And look at this one. 90 billion for equity. Out of all of them, that's the worst. I couldn't believe it when I seen that. 90 billion for equity. There. 90 billion. Fuck off. Where's it gone? I want to make that bigger so you could see. So you could see that I wasn't lying about it. 90 billion for equity. What does that mean? 90 billion for equity. What, you mean promoting communism? Basically, right? And it's so light on details. Equity, what does it mean? $90 billion. What are we getting for it? What are we getting for it? Funding communist propaganda. That's what I see it as. 90 billion for equity. What does it even mean? What a load of absolute shit. Yeah, Marxism powerful bill. That'll just be 90 billion for commie fucking activist groups, won't it? $90 billion check. Oh yeah, well 50% of it will go missing and go in AOC's arse pocket because they're all as bent as an £8 note. But that is the biggest crock of shit I've ever read. Biggest crock of shit I've ever read. So I cannot believe that even got entertained. Build back bollocks. Build back bugger all. The Build Back Better Act. That's a nice summation. It's shite. It's shite. And you should pray they don't somehow pay off Minchin and get it through the bastard house. Because it's shite. All right? I don't want to pay any more income tax to promote scrubbers having an extra 10 kids and communists, basically. Build back Bolshevism. So yeah, fuck them. Thank you, Joe Minchin, for holding the line. Right, ladies and gents, I'm going to call it there. I think this is the last time I'll see you for a while. I'm off to see the mother-in-law. I think I'll be back on Monday. So yeah, I'll see you then. Have a fucking good Christmas. I was going to say Happy New Year, but no, I'll see you before the New Year. Have a good Christmas. Everyone send Joe Minchin a Christmas card if you're this side of the pond, yeah, for promoting the Build Back Bolsheviks. And yeah, enjoy the day. I fucking love Christmas. Make sure you put some good Christmas tunes on, listen to George Michael and get pissed and pull some crackers and do all of the stuff that wanker communist arseholes whinge about because they hate Christmas because they think it's fashionable. And as Half Man, Half Biscuit said, it's not. It's cliched to be cynical about Christmas. All right? Have a fucking good Christmas. I will. I'll love it. I'll get pissed and open presents and fucking enjoy myself because that's what it's for. Thanks, everybody, for listening. I will see you on Monday, probably. We'll see. We'll see. If I can get a BBC Spews filmed, I will do. If not, I'll see you very soon. All enjoy the festive period. Drink plenty of mulled wine, and I'll see you very, very soon. Toodle pip. Merry fucking Christmas. See you later.